Hey everyone, welcome back to a very special episode of Nintendo Fanboyz. You're going to hear a lot of background noise today because Steven's son is just so excited about what we're talking about that he really wants to jump in. So it's actually going to be kind of a funny podcast. Now, today what we're going to talk about primarily is obviously the Legend of Zelda. And, of course, the very first thing is, what is the name, Steven?
Breath of the Wild. And it took me a while to get it right. I always thought it was Breath of Fresh Air or Breath of Wild Air for some reason. But it's Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild. Now, when I first heard that, I was like, Breath of the Wild? I was like, that's kind of a bizarre name. Like, I just was like, that's kind of weird. But it seems to make a lot of sense in some way. So here we go. Just so everybody has a little bit of context for a few things here. This is the first year in my life, I think, I have actually not paid any attention to E3 almost at all. I was down in Quebec City accepting an award, which I'm not going to get into all that, but it basically, I was gone Sunday and Monday, which for those of you who know anything about E3, Sunday and Monday just so happened to be when all of the conferences were. So I actually didn't see live, at least, anything at all. I read it like Sunday stuff. I sort of read some of it on Monday, and then Sunday stuff. No, what am I saying here? Monday's stuff that was announced, like Microsoft's conference, Sony's conference, etc. I caught a little bit of that that evening, and then on Tuesday. And then Tuesday, when Nintendo held their big Treehouse event where we knew it was going to be Zelda, and more Zelda, I didn't have a free moment. Like, I literally didn't have a free moment. So basically, my story with this, since we're talking about Fanboyz, is I saw the trailer, which we'll get to in just a sec, and, well, I don't want to tell you my reaction. I'll tell you that once we jump into it, but it's a really funny story. But needless to say, after I saw the trailer, I just stopped. I closed the computer right away, and I actually left. I walked away because I saw it at work, and I just walked away. I didn't have anything scheduled. I could have watched probably another, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes of the what was it, the Treehouse? But I purposely didn't, and I'm gonna do that, I think, from here on out. And we'll get into that in just a sec. So, how do you want to begin, Steven?
Well, I guess we can jump straight into Zelda, because that's going to be the most what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk maybe about a few other things after if we want to, but the most interesting thing to talk about is Zelda, and obviously there's tons and tons to talk about because the demo is massive. I've watched a lot of different videos, and they're all basically different areas and stuff because they've shown, apparently the E3 demo is like if you're playing almost like the real game. The only difference is that there's a time limit. So basically they give you the controller and you can do whatever you want in like 15 minutes, I believe. So that can make some very, very, very different videos, and the game is just massive. And I didn't actually see the trailer until after you because I was working, and while I was working I was preparing my order for a store, so I decided to check in the Treehouse, and the Treehouse had already started, but what I saw was amazing because it starts with Link, and you hear a voice, Link is sleeping, and you hear a voice, it's a girl's voice saying, Link, wake up. Right there, I was like, my God, they finally added voice acting to Zelda. Like, they've been voice acting in Zelda, like little things like that, but I thought it was official, but they were not drawing attention to that. So I was a bit skeptic about that, but we'll get about that a bit later. And then Link wakes up, and he's in the Temple of Resuscitation, I believe, something like that. Whatever Jesus did during Easter. What's it called? Resurrection, sorry. And you see him doing a lot of things, you see the visuals. But the moment where my jaw dropped is when Link gets outside of the temple. This is where there's like a long corridor, and you see light. at the end of the tunnel. And then as soon as Link goes outside, you see this vast open world. And that's why I want you to watch that. Just a little, 2 minutes. It won't spoil anything, but just to see that the first time you see the outside world, it's just jaw-dropping.
Okay, well, for me, here we go. I'm just going to tell you guys my story. So, when it comes to certain things, I can talk a lot. So you're going to have to interrupt me and stuff like that, because this is my series. So here we go. We talked about this in, I don't know if it was the last Fanboyz or one of the Fanboyz. We had talked about the evolution of Zelda, and we had mentioned, I had mentioned the fact that to me, Zelda really only evolved a bit. We went from the original Zelda where it just plunked you down, there was a cave in front of you, you went into the cave, you got your sword, and that was it. You were just free to do whatever the hell you wanted to do. And the only limiting factor was the items that you had. You couldn't go, say, you didn't have a raft, so you couldn't go across large chasms of water, things like that. But I really felt an evolutionary jump when A Link to the Past came out, because it was sort of you didn't quite have that same level of freedom, but you did. It was sort of like a mix, because it wasn't linear, but they were sort of helping you to say okay, you really should go in that direction, but you know what? If you've got a pair of balls on you and you want to be brave and traverse Death Mountain, well, go ahead. We're not going to stop you. But we will stop you a bit with some of the weapons and things like that, so that you don't accidentally go and kill yourself. And we want to ease you into some of the gameplay mechanics, etc., etc., etc. But that formula that was established, because I consider The Legend of Zelda and Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, as really Nintendo experimenting. They didn't really find their footing until A Link to the Past came out. When A Link to the Past came out, I always envisioned everyone at Nintendo high-fiving each other and being this is it. This is our formula, and we're going to follow this formula to the end of time. And to some degree, that is exactly what has happened all the way till this very day. And yes, people can argue with me. Everyone, you're all entitled to your own opinion, of course. But for me, honestly, every single Zelda game, with the exception of Majora's Mask, that was the one that really, to me, tried to do something really different. But even that, to some degree, still follows that sort of traditional Zelda formula. And when Ocarina of Time came out, I was really taken aback, because it felt like A Link to the Past gone in 3D. Yes, instead of having two worlds to traverse, you had 2 points in time. But it really felt like they took A Link to the Past, made it 3D, and slapped in a different story. It felt like the exact same game in a lot of ways. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not complaining, not knocking it. But you just mentioning that fact of seeing that scene where you see the overworld. Well, I will never forget the very first time in Ocarina of Time, when you leave the forest for the very first time and you make it out to Hyrule Field, I was floored. I was absolutely floored. I was holy crap. It looked like 1,000,000 times bigger than any of the Zeldas that had come before it. And it's for that reason why I don't want to see that. I would love to experience that for myself, in my own home, on my TV, and have my jaw drop and then pick it up off the floor and say, let's go explore. You see, to me, whenever someone talks to me about Majora's Mask, the only, and it's not criticism, the only thing that really affected me with that particular game was the exploration wasn't there. I always felt like I had to move my ass, if that makes sense. And I'm not knocking Majora's Mask. I actually am a huge fan of that game. I really enjoyed that one. But there was that. That always bothered me with that game for whatever reason. And with the very, very original Zelda game, I was young. I was very young. And I was the type of kid that I have a country house, and my family used to go up to the country house. And when we were kids, my brother and I, we used to play like in the forest, not deep in the forest, but in the forest. And I would like pick up rocks, and I would imagine that, all these little insects that were under there, that there was some village or something like that. And, we would like make pretend and stuff like that. We would have these sort of fantasy stories that we would come up with. And Zelda was sort of like that imagination, that thing I thought of come to life, okay? So I hope that makes you sort of understand like where I am. So when I see this trailer, and the trailer is a good trailer, I mean, it's not like, oh my God, the best trailer of all time, but it gave me, like I had goosebumps all over my body when I saw this. I couldn't even tell you what I saw in the trailer. I saw it once. I didn't watch it like 1,000 times. I just saw it once, and it connected with me. It brought me back to being like a 4 or 5-year-old child in that forest up north, playing with my brother and lifting up stones and playing stick fights and stuff like that, of that sense of like wonderment, that sense of exploration, that I can go anywhere I see. When you see Link climbing up like the side of a mountain and like looking over a vast, huge horizon, and knowing that, son of a bitch, I can go everywhere, I just started going, no way, no way, and it was getting louder and louder and louder. I had a whole bunch of my colleagues come in because they thought I was having like a heart attack or something, and they were just like, what the hell is going on? And I was like, oh my God! Like I was totally freaking out. Because this connected with me, like this is my dream game. I can't even, like I don't have words to explain what this did to me. This like, whatever, 2-minute trailer, however long it is, I flipped out. Like I just lost it. Because it connected with me, like I say, at such a personal level that I was like, I actually cannot see anymore. I can't, because I'm going to friggin' lose it and fly down to the States to go and like try this damn game, because like I have dreamed of this moment ever since I was a kid. Like this is it. There's a reason why I like Elder Scrolls, and there's a reason why I was saying like in one of the last podcasts we did, where it would be great. It would be absolutely great to have that same sort of like this massive open world where you could explore, but set within Zelda's world. So not this overly mature, take an arrow to the knee type of world. I don't want that. I just want to be plunked down and have that sense of exploration where I can do whatever the F I want in this world. If I want to go and explore that temple that I see off in the distance, great, I can do that. But if I don't, if I just feel like riding around and just seeing, there's that weird little cave over there in the distance, I wonder what's in that. And based on the trailer, and again, now this is where Steven's going to come in and he can talk, of course, about what he's seen, just to hype me up even more. But just what I saw in that trailer, it looks like I can. Like, for the first time ever, that little child Jarrod is finally going to have that experience that he's dreamed of for, 30-odd years now? Something? However long until the first Zelda came out. And I just couldn't be more excited. I just don't want to see it. I want Steven and my other friends to hype me up, to tell me what they've seen, and let my imagination run wild, because just what I saw in that trailer, I am so damn stoked.
About the exploration part, I think you're absolutely right. It's not... Like, it seems like this is like Dragon Quest. It seems like from the beginning of the game you can go anywhere you want. As Elliot seems to have his own opinion on this too. I don't know if you're hearing him.
Yeah, we hear him.
It's just the size of the map, because you saw when I mentioned, when my jaw dropped, when Link gets out of the tunnel and you see the overworld. The thing is, that area you see right there is super vast. And you see already tons of stuff you want to explore. But then, apparently this is only 2% of the whole entire map. like this is obviously this is PR, so it's probably exaggerated and whatnot. But even if this is 10% of the game, if you tell me there are 10 other areas like that, like this would just mean a massive, massive game. Like it's just incredible. And Link, what I like, Link can climb anywhere, and it's not like Uncharted or those games where there's specific parts where you just press X and you let the game do it. He seems to be able to climb anywhere, but how it works is that they took back the endurance meter from Skyward Sword. So if you want to climb a huge mountain, you need to do it before your endurance runs out. And what I believe is, what I saw from the treehouse, I believe they maxed out Link's abilities for now, so his endurance is really high. But what I assume will happen is that you'll get more, just like many Zeldas where you can upgrade your health and whatnot. I think you'll be able to upgrade your endurance, because I saw a girl playing. She was a representative of Nintendo, and she already had the shell-shaded one, the GameCube game. Wind Waker. In Wind Waker, yeah, you have the leaf, you can glide. Well, there's a similar item in there. We actually had that in Skyward Sword 2 at the beginning. And she already had that, and that's something you get later in the game. So I believe that they're already maxed out in endurance, so they can show you how to climb everywhere. But it's clear that you won't be able to climb everywhere until you upgrade your thing. But I really love that system, and it seems. And Elliot wants to play with me, so I'm gonna try to do both here. And it seems like this is a toy drill, people. Don't worry. And it seems like
I hope so.
It seems like this is gonna be it, because it feels like exploration when you really can climb anywhere, you really can go anywhere you want. And like the problem, I've never been a huge open world game fan, because I need an objective, and I need it to be a bit of linear, or else I don't know what to do, and I get too many stuff to do, and I get like intimidated, and I stop playing. That's happened so many times with me. There are a few exceptions like Red Dead Redemption, Grand Theft Auto 5. Those games really hooked me in from the get-go. But this is Zelda, and it seems like it's going to be amazing, because you don't heal yourself with hearts anymore. You don't find rupees by cutting grass. You actually need to find fruits and mushrooms and steaks and stuff in the wild, and then you can do various stuff like make a recipe, or make a fire, make a recipe, like, for example, I think an apple will heal you like a quarter of a heart, but if you bake it, it will heal like 3/4 of a heart or something like that. Like, there's going to be tons of little stuff like that will make exploring worthwhile. And also now items and weapons are breakable. So I don't think there's going to be like the new Zelda where you find a new arrow or a new bow, a new sword. Obviously, the Master Sword will probably be in there. But besides that, it looks like you'll have a new weapon, and you'll be able to have a limited use. And when it breaks, well, you need to find a new one. You need to go either steal one from a goblin, or hopefully buy one in a village or something. And obviously there's going to be stronger weapons and whatnot, but you're going to probably have to be strategic about them, because they break now. So that's pretty cool. So exploration-wise, I'm hyped about this. I've been looking at tons of videos, and it's just crazy how much stuff you can do and how different the game can be. And another thing is, when you see a problem in front of you, there are now like hundreds of ways to deal with it because of the freedom the game grants you. It's just incredible. Like, just to kill a regular enemy, there's now many ways than usual. Usually you would just take your sword and bash the guy until he's dead. But now you can throw a boulder on him, you can pick up a metal rock, throw it on him. You can obviously hit him with your sword or a club, or burn him with explosion. It's just, there's so much stuff to do in this game that, like, I'm going to have to stop watching videos soon, because you have to realize this is not coming out on the earliest until March. So that's almost a year away. And that's going to be hard, because this is the game I want to play right now. I want to play it right now. And yeah, I don't know. It's going to be hard to wait, man.
You see, this is the thing, man, that, well, that's one of the main reasons why I don't want to see any more. But one of the things that I was thinking of was, like, with all this freedom and, like, with this exploration and with, you know, with all of this, is, like, I have so many questions. You know, I have so many questions because, well, you're already, you're already
but
starting.
I have theories, though.
Yeah, because, like, one of the things was you were talking about how, you know, you can approach, say, like, many encounters in many different ways, which that's one of the things, because, like, when you truly think of what I said earlier about, you know, like, just dropping yourself off and, like, okay, I can explore absolutely anywhere. Well, that's fantastic and all, but how do you retain, say, puzzles? Like, how do you retain the magic of figuring out a puzzle if you don't have the bow and arrow? And that actually gets my brain thinking, where I'm like, well, what if they start to make puzzles that can be solved in multiple ways? So that if you do have a bow and arrow, you could solve it that way. But if you don't have a bow and arrow, well, what you could do is you could push that boulder over there, which would then knock this down. And you know what I mean? That would be friggin' awesome, man. Like, if like, not just encounters, but if puzzles and stuff like that could actually be approached in different ways. I might be shooting for the stars here, being unrealistic, but, you know, I'm looking and I'm like, well, if it's truly that open world, how the hell are they going to, like, tackle certain things? Like, also dungeons. I don't know if there's been any mention of traditional dungeons, if they're going to be, like, smaller type things. Oh, man, I don't know. There's just so much. I just don't know.
Something I wanted to tackle, actually, because I haven't seen dungeons well. And they have shown shrines. Shrines are basically micro dungeons, and in there you usually find an orb, which is something that grants you, like, an ability if you find many of them. And also some shrines will have, like, some new skills. Like, for example, one of the shrines I saw, when she cleared it, she gained the ability to move metal objects with a magnetic kind of red thing. I don't know how you call it. A magnet? A magnet, basically.
Okay.
And the shrines are puzzle areas, basically, and there's over 100 of them. They've confirmed there's over 100 of them, and obviously not all of them will be necessary to complete the game, so that would be awesome. But what I'm hoping for is that there's at least 1 or 2 dungeons in the game. Maybe there'll be more, but I'm not sure if there'll actually be some. That will be odd departure from the series, but we haven't seen anything in there saying that there are villages, there are towns, so I'm pretty sure we can expect at least a few classic Zelda dungeons in there. That would make sense because the area is so huge, but the thing is, there's over 100 of these micro shrines in the game, so that's quite a lot.
Well, maybe that's the dungeons then. Did you say there were towns or there were not towns?
There are towns. We did not see them. They say they don't want to show any story, any characters or whatever. They don't want to spoil it, and that's their reasoning. But they did confirm that there are villages and towns.
Okay, well, good.
I just want to quickly touch on the voice acting. That's probably my biggest disappointment with this, is that while there seems to be voice acting in cutscenes and stuff like that, that's about it. Like, once the game starts, it all goes back to text. When you see there's an NPC at one point who tells you something and you have to read it, and when you start in the shrine, instead of hearing a voiceover, it's text again, and then you meet the character at the end and it's text again. And some people might see this as a minor detail, and it could be. Like, the game would be great without voice acting, but it's just... I wish that they would have taken the extra time to actually put voice acting in there, and it's just some of those old, stubborn Nintendo mentalities that I wish would go away.
Yeah, for the voice acting, I heard the same thing you did with the Wake Up. It's in the trailer. And I flipped out. I was like, oh my God, you know, like, seriously? Like, we're going to have freaking voice acting in a Zelda? And again, my little, oh my God type of thing. But then you were the guy that told me oh no, it's only here, there, or whatever. That's a little disappointing. Like I just wish they would, just go all out, man. Just do it. I mean, it's not the end of the world for me. It's a little disappointing, but I'm not going to we'll see. Honestly, at this point, I really don't care. I'm more I was just so blown away by what I saw that I was just, oh man, I'm going to come down to reality once the game's out and I'm playing the game, because it's true. If there are 0 dungeons, if it's 100 or over 100 of those, what did you say, shrines?
Yeah.
Then part of me will be like, oh, that's a little disappointing. It would be cool to have some giant tower in the middle of nowhere that I could go and visit, and it's multiple floors and stuff. But again, it's gonna all come down to how, what is the limiting factor? Every single open world game has limiting factors, from Grand Theft Auto onward. They all have certain elements that prevent you from actually going anywhere. In some games, it's, you can't cross the water because there's, the bridge isn't built yet, or you're not strong enough to go into enemy territory as of yet, things like that. I'm just mentioning stuff from Arkham's, Arkham Knight. That was the last really big open world game that I played. So I am curious to see what is the limiting factor, because there's got to be, and if there isn't, well then that's even cooler in one sense. But then it does go back to so how do you balance puzzles then if you don't have weapons, or do you change that gameplay mechanic completely to having puzzles that basically go to the lowest common denominator, where Link has no weapons, nothing, and he can solve every puzzle in the game. So I'm really curious to see how they handle that. I'm also really curious just to see how progression is done. How does the story actually work? And you were mentioning about cooking and stuff like that. I wonder how all that works. They showed a bit of that in the trailer, but just, 2 seconds or whatever. So I'm wondering about that. And there was also, it looked like different armor or different gear or something like that. And I'm curious to see how that works. Do we have multiple types of gear depending on where you're going? Is it exploration based? Is it how the hell does all that work? And you may have answers to all of this. I have no idea. It's just, these are things that I'm really curious about.
No, I do not have answers to anything. I just have theories, like my theory on the endurance meter, which I believe this is going to be a game where the more you explore, the more goodies you find, and the more you can actually upgrade your character. The more Link can get more hearts and probably get stronger, get faster. Because they say that you can go anywhere, but that some areas you will just get overpowered if you go there right away. So it's kind of the Dragon Quest mentality. So I'm not really sure if that's going to be how they prevent you from going, let's say, to the last dungeon of the game right away. There's probably, but then again, when you go to shrines and I assume dungeons, you're probably going to need items to get into those. Like I mentioned before, you can get orbs from finishing those shrines. So there's going to be ways to prevent you from going to certain areas. But as far as the overworld go, the open areas, it seems like you're going to be able to go pretty much anywhere. And also something, I think that was from the trailer actually, where Link can actually ride wild horses. Wasn't that from the trailer? Yeah, so obviously there's going to be wildlife. I believe I saw deer in the trailer and stuff like that. I don't think I've seen deer before in the Zelda game, but I probably have and I'm forgetting. So it seems like it's not just horses, but there's going to be wildlife you're going to be able to interact with. I'm not sure if you're going to actually hunt deers and stuff like that. I doubt it, but maybe, because you are eating steaks at some point. So we'll see. There's tons of stuff that I'd like to know more. I can't wait to play this, and this seems like it's going to be my game of E3. I don't see anything else topping this, but that's because I'm a huge Zelda fanboy, so there might be something else out there, but man, they've impressed me so much, and I understand now why they decided to only showcase Zelda at E3. Of course, they don't seem to have much to announce besides that, but still, like, this game deserves its entire boot.
Do you know anything about, like, the armor or the gear and stuff? Because I honestly think you're 100% right. I think by putting the adrenaline meter back, that's your limiting factor. There you go. That's it. Because you won't be able to climb Death Mountain right away. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to need to upgrade that meter a little bit. I'm sure. I'm 100% sure you're right about that. But I was, like, it was very, very quick in the trailer, but at least I think it was the trailer, or maybe a screenshot or something I saw. But it looked like there was a lot of gear. Do you know anything about that?
Well, from what I can see from the video I saw, the first video I saw, is that Link, when he wakes up, he's almost nude, and then you open up 2 treasure chests and you find, like, basic clothing. So I'm pretty sure as far as armor goes, that you're going to find treasure with improved armor. Like, if I remember right, the clothing had actual stats to it, like defensive stats to it. So I'm pretty sure that's going to be the same type for armor. I'm also not certain if armor breaks. I assume it does. But like I said, it seems like when you defeat enemies, you can loot them. So maybe you can find armor through that same route as you find weapons. I'm not actually sure about that. But as far as equipment go, probably the answers are probably out there. I just haven't really noticed it, and I haven't watched obviously every video out there because, like, if you look at the first view, you can see an actual, like, what seems like Death Mountain in the background, and I'm pretty sure somebody probably went there. I haven't seen that, so there's tons of stuff that I need to be on the lookout for.
Oh, it's going to be awesome, man. It really is. It's going to be absolutely awesome. Very, very excited for this. Yeah, this is going to be, I sure hope this is the game of E3. I mean, like I say, I haven't paid any attention to even this particular game, but I'm really, really excited for it. It looks like, Nintendo wants to try something new. And then when we talk about, like, we're going to talk about, the other stuff that happened at E3 in episode of Canadian Fanboyz, Canadian Gamers. It just, like, it seems like it's going in the right direction, and there's something else I want to talk about that I think is also going in the right direction, but we'll save that later on. But this really, like, I'm really, really excited for this. I haven't been this excited for... I haven't been this excited for a Zelda game since Skyward Sword. Hey, how about that? But no, seriously, like, I'm really, really looking forward to this. I have high hopes that this lives up to expectations. I'm really, really looking forward to this.
This looks like a game where you take a week off work and you just, like, get lost totally into it. And it's probably, like, the first time I'm this hyped for an open world game. I just want to go and explore it, and I don't even care about, like, my objectives and whatnot. I just want to go, and then I talk to you, or I talk to my friends and see, like, they're 4 hours in, and then we can talk about our playthroughs so far, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have totally different experiences, and then I'm going to tell you, did you find this chest? And you're going to be like, no, and then you're going to go back, do that, and you're going to do the same thing with me. It's going to be so awesome to play just because everybody will find treasures or different stuff to do, and it's probably going to be one of those games that's insanely difficult to get, like, 100% of the items and whatnot, but it's going to be so much fun, and I just hope to, like, to share it with everyone when I play it, so, like, I can have different experiences, and it's going to be a blast. This is one of the games that you want to talk to people when you're playing, just to know what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. No, seriously, that's exactly it. Like, I'm really, really excited for that exact thing. It goes back to what I was saying when we started about being a kid and the whole exploration thing and just that natural sense of curiosity, and being able to share that with friends and others is going to be really, really exciting. This has the potential to be something magical. Just the fact that you said that, Link is resurrected, that is awesome because, fan theories, right? Like, you're going to get guys like Ahmed that's going to be like, oh my lord, is this like the hero of time? Is this the hero from A Link to the Past? Which Link is this? And, and so on and so forth.
Just before that, I just want to say that it might not be resurrection, it might be resuscitation or something else. It's just, I think it's resurrection, so maybe I'm wrong, but continue.
Well, let's see. What did you say, temple?
Yeah, I thought it said the Temple of Resurrection, but it might be a similar word.
Let's see. It's called Zelda. What the hell is it?
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild Resurrection. Let's just type that. Okay, it starts with Link in the Shrine of Resurrection.
Oh,
there you go.
There you go. That's right. Well, almost like a temple, but it's the shrine.
So there you go. And already there's 250 people that are talking about which Link is it. Exactly. So, but I like that, man. That's so cool because like hardcore fans, I've never been a big fan of the whole timeline thing. I just, whatever. But I like that. I really, really like that if you are one of those fans that you're just gonna, they've given you ammunition to just think about what all this is, start talking about it. The fact that they devoted the whole E3 show pretty much to this. Yes, we're going to talk about a couple of the other things that they talked about. But, a lot of us, myself included, I was like, man, this is pretty crazy. Like, this is a ballsy move. And I think it's going to pay off for them because I think a lot of people are going to talk. And even if you don't buy this for the Wii U, they've already confirmed, I did see that it is the exact same experience on the NX. So regardless of if you're going to buy it on the Wii U or the NX, either way, this is something to be really, really excited for. I have yet to see anyone say anything negative about it. I've seen, like, my brother was like, I'm not really into the whole graphical style. I've seen a few other people say that they were a little bit underwhelmed. They wanted to see this, that, or the other thing. But the vast majority of people that I've seen anyway, or that I've spoken to, have been extremely impressed by that very first impression. Whether or not they watched the Treehouse or the trailer or whatever, I think it's like an overwhelming majority of people are really liking the direction that this is taking. And I think that's about like the biggest compliment that I can give it is that everybody's talking about this game, and that's just fantastic.
I'm just going to start by saying I think the trailer doesn't even begin to give the game justice. So you really, not you, because I know you're going to love this no matter what, but you really need to look at the videos and stuff. It really explains the game a lot better, I find, than the trailer. But when you talk about the timeline and the storytelling of Zelda, like, I always find that I prefer when storyline in games take a back seat to the actual exploring and the actual gameplay. Like, for example, Severed is my #1 game of the year so far, and it's not even close. And it basically has next to no story, but in my opinion has one of the best stories this year, because it lets you play and it lets you live the game, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then there's a game like Uncharted, which, for me, Uncharted 4, greatly disappointing, because all it had for me was storyline, so I could have just watched the cutscenes, and that was it. Zelda has always taken a backseat to storytelling. You can't, when you talk about Zelda, you can't put it in the same category as Mass Effect or Final Fantasy or whatever you want. It never had. Of course, there's fans who really like the characters or the clothing or the art or whatnot, and whatever, each his own, but it's not known for its storytelling. And yet again, A Link to the Past has one of the best stories for me, because as a kid, like, it let me use my imagination, and it let me explore the game, and the story eventually became what I wanted it to be, and that's awesome. And I think this will be the same here. I don't think there's going to be a big emphasis or story in this as there was in Skyward Sword. I believe Skyward Sword was one of the better storyline wise done Zelda game. I don't think this will be it because I think they want you to explore, they want you to play the game, and of course there's going to be cutscenes here and there, and who knows, maybe I'm completely wrong about this. Maybe there's going to be like 5 hours of cutscenes in this game and tons of voice acting. Who knows? But I believe it's not going to be the case. I think this is going to be, like you said, you're going to be a little kid in the woods. You're going to explore. You're going to break rocks. You're going to play with bugs, and you're going to live this game. And that's what's going to make it so awesome in my mind. And then again, this could turn out to be a terrible game. Of course, I have not played it, but I doubt it. I think this will be 2017's best game.
Oh yeah, man, and that's just it. I mean, I'm right there with you. I have never been one. Well, I said it. I was never been one for this whole Zelda timeline thing. I just I enjoy the games for what they are, and like you said, I think you're right. Skyward Sword was the one with the deepest storyline, and I'm perfectly cool, man, with playing through a game where it's like A Link to the Past, where you have this sort of, say, higher level story, but you're piecing, things together. Even Ocarina of Time to a certain degree. Yeah, there was definitely, of course, more story, but still, I don't know. I'm hoping that that's the direction they go with, where less is more, because you're right, this is not Mass Effect or anything like that. So, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. It's just, I really don't, I'm super, super excited for what I saw, and I know, man, believe me, I know. I still remember vividly walking out into Hyrule Field as little child Link in Ocarina of Time and being blown away. So believe me, I can only imagine if you were to take that and throw that into like a Fallout setting or an Elder Scrolls setting where it's this massive overworld type of thing, but set in like Hyrule. Oh man, just bring it on.
Yeah, no, is there anything else you want to talk about that game? I could go on, but
No, I think we're okay. I think that's good. I mean, I want to leave something to my imagination for now. But what else? What else did Nintendo talk about? Because I really, truly did not look. I didn't want to look. After I saw that trailer, I didn't want to see anything else. So I purposely have been avoiding all Nintendo sites, everything.
Well, I think basically what they did yesterday was the first hour of the treehouse was Zelda, the second hour was Pokemon Sun and Moon, and then the rest of the day was back to Zelda. I think that's what they did. They did announce like a new Mario Party for the 3DS, which will be in November. I think it's called Star Rush, and I don't have your high hopes for that game. Like I reviewed the last Mario Party, it was a really, really crappy portable game, and I think this one will be rushed as well. I wouldn't be very, very skeptical about it. They also revealed that Paper Mario Color Splash, I think will be released in October. They had the exact release date, but I forgot. Of course, it broke before that Severed is coming to the Wii U and 3DS and is cross-buy, so that's fantastic. Everybody listening to that, if you have a 3DS or a Wii U, like this is a game you must buy. It's amazing. Don't miss it out. And that was pretty much it. Today they did announce a new IP, which was called Never Oasis. What did I tell you it was called? Something like that.
Yeah, Ever Oasis.
And it's from Grezza, the guys who handle the Zelda ports on the 3DS. And obviously he's also the guy who worked on Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3. And I think he's the one who actually is credited for inventing the Moogles and something else. So it's actually an action RPG. It looks very similar to Zelda. It looks pretty cool. It's obviously a bit more on the family-friendly side, but still something to look forward if you're a 3DS fan. And today they spent an hour talking about Pokemon Go, and I'm going to talk about those Pokemon Go and Pokemon Sun and Moon. First off, the treehouse setting is not exactly the most entertaining stuff to watch, because basically it's PR. So they're gonna say stuff like, I'm amazed by that character right there. Like they're gonna be amazed by everything, and it's a bit annoying, but I get it. They're obviously working for Nintendo, so they're not gonna ask the hard questions and the stuff that we actually want to know about Pokemon and stuff like that. But also something else that is troublesome is that it's all the people working on Pokemon and Zelda 2 obviously are Japanese, so they need translators. So you're basically the guy asks questions and then the translator translates it into Japanese. Then the Japanese guy answers it, and then it's translated back. So it's very, very slow, and sometimes even the guy's not playing until he gets an answer. So it's really, really, really slow. It's not an ideal setting. I wish they would go back to doing conferences and whatnot, and let the treehouse be an extra. That being said, like, we did see a lot of stuff for Pokemon Sun and Moon, but even I, the biggest Pokemon fanboy in the world, could not even watch it for the whole hour because it was so boring to sit there and watch as the guy did basic stuff and for all that translation and reveal next to nothing about the game. We did see some new Pokemon. We did see a new battle format, which is called Battle Royale, which seems to be inspired by Free For All, which were made popular by YouTubers. Free For All, basically, in Pokemon X and Y and RS, you could do 2-on-2 battles with like partners. So it could be you and I could partner up and play against 2 other people in a 2-on-2 classic Pokemon battle style. But of course, YouTubers did a way to free fall where you can attack anybody. The problem with that is that if the last 2 people are on the same team, then the game obviously ends. But this is pretty cool. Free fall will actually exist now with this new feature. From the gameplay, I saw that they've changed the menus, and the game looks a bit. I found it looked a bit better than RS because obviously they've been working on this for a lot longer, and actually when you're battling now you can see the trainers behind it up. I thought that they actually put the trainers a bit too close to the Pokemon. Like it seems like the Pokemon are right in front of each other when they're battling, and in my opinion it's not big enough. They should create a bigger battlefield, but besides that, like there's not much that we know of Pokemon Sun and Moon that's been revealed so far during E3. And I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Right now, no. I'm right at the end of Emerald, by the way.
Okay.
Like, so I'm going to polish that one off, but I don't know if I'm going to have time to jump right into Platinum. But no, for this, not really. I don't have too much. I haven't seen anything new. The last thing I saw for this Pokemon was the last trailer that they did there. Well, actually, I don't know if it's the last trailer anymore. I've been so out of it. I've got the 2 games on pre-order right now, but I can always cancel those because Steven was saying to me previously that you can actually get the Japanese ones and you get it like a day early, but everything's going to depend on the time because I need, if there's conferences or anything else that I might be at, because if I can't, if I'm like seriously busy, well then there's no point in picking them up early. What the hell's the point? I have it a day early that I can't even play it, Yeah. But we'll get to that. We'll see. But
for
if it's
those
looking
that are
good,
confused by what he's saying, he's not actually getting the Japanese game. He's going to download them on the Japanese 3DS. Because of the timeline, I think Japan is ahead of us, so the game gets released like 12 hours before, or maybe 24. I believe it's 12, but who knows? Because of the timeline, basically, if you have a Japanese 3DS, you can play Pokemon earlier, and since the game are available in English from the get-go, there's really no difference.
Yeah, there you go. So it's exactly like he said. But yeah, so I mean, basically, the more that you talk about it, like if you say it looks great, it's good, it looks terrible, you're basically going to be the one that's, going to be filling me in and letting me know, and we'll go from there. So overall, if I just wanted to wrap up my little portion here, I'd say overall, this was a really ballsy move. I'll say it again. Really ballsy move, especially when you consider what the competition brought to the table this year. And there was a lot of really big games that were brought or announced or showcased or whatever at this year's E3. But I think given the circumstances, like given the game Nintendo has on their hands, I think they made the right choice. I really do. Because had they shown the NX, I think it would have overshadowed a lot of Zelda, or vice versa. Zelda could have potentially overshadowed the NX, and that's obviously not what you want in cases like this. So I'd like to say that, no, I think it was definitely a risky move, but I think it paid off, or at least to me. But I'm like Omega fanboy Zelda person here, so maybe I'm crazy. I'm going to be really curious to hear what you all have to say. Because I really want to know if you guys, did you even like what was shown? What were some of the highlights for you? Were you disappointed with Nintendo's E3 showing? Would you have preferred something else? I would really, really, really like to hear from the people that watch our videos. What did you guys think? And then, Steven, you can close the show.
All right. Well, I hope that we can actually, because I think the last Fanboyz episode we did was like over a month ago, because Jarrod has decided to be lazy in the worst possible timing. Instead of doing podcasts like we should have done, he's decided to go on trips and like eat bagels and drink like orange juice and stuff like that. So we really need, because I wanted to do an episode actually this weekend that just passed, because we haven't even touched on stuff like Yokai Watch 2 and like the new handheld that Nintendo is supposedly developing. So there's tons of stuff to talk about. Hopefully the delay from this Fanboyz, the next one, won't be as high. And I'm going to go take care of Elliot while you finish off.
Okay, it sounds like he just got a boo-boo. So what I'm going to say, guys, is exactly that. Hopefully we'll be able to get back together a little bit sooner. Like Steven would say, I've been tremendously Zelda. I've been tremendously Zelda. I've been tremendously lazy, according to him. So I'll go back to drinking my orange juice now, and we will see you all in the next episode of Fanboyz. But be sure to please leave a comment, because we really want to know what you guys think of both Nintendo's move here at E3, but also about what you think of The Legend of Zelda. All right, guys, we will see you next time. Take care.